Hey, this is Lemon Anderson, Spit King of the world, straight out of Brooklyn, New York. I'm here with Cast Meets Zurich Film Festival. Check it out.
One of the most astonishing artists, Lemon Anderson.
I've been trying to build this show for the last 13 years. No one really knew my personal life until now. The name Lemon comes from growing up in a neighborhood with mostly colored people. I grew up with my brothers and sisters are Puerto Ricans of color, and my friends are all dark-skinned, black, dark Puerto Ricans, you know. So I was the only white boy growing up, very, very blonde as a kid. I was very, very blonde. And so the name Lemonhead came. But I didn't like the name Lemonhead, of course. I wasn't letting people call me Lemonhead. But I let people call me Lemon. I allowed that, and I had it since I was 5 years old. The first thought that I could ever remember as a kid was me and my mother going to Coney Island. The Himalaya ride was like a big party. When the sun started to go down, everyone would go to the Himalaya ride and just kind of dance in the street. And that was the first thought that I could ever remember.
This moment of mine, medium rare, so I don't let her down. Every shimmy, every shake, every slide, every glide slides and sink. The crowd tightens their cipher. Black folks look at me crooked, I give them my two-step, just get out of town look. It's like no one and nothing else exists but their soul clap in the stained glass river Nile of tears, salty, stinging my mother's smile. I could hear her pitch perfect in the background yelling, "That's my boy."
Today, what poetry means to me is like a parent that I have to honor, you know, because it's done so much for my life that I have to honor it with my hard work. It's almost like the only thing that gave me a job was poetry. I didn't know how to read well. And when I got to prison, I didn't want to read these long books. It was very tiring on my eyes, you know. Reading is a physical act. You have to read, you know, and that's a physical thing. So poetry was very easy for me to read because it was like 1-2 pages the most, and I move on. When I came out of prison and I went to look for a job, I couldn't find a job because I was a criminal now, an ex-con. So I ended up in this poetry reading, and I saw these guys reading poetry out loud, and I automatically fell in love with it. I took a shot. That night I took a shot at writing a poem. And that one poem, that one night, some lady came to me and gave me a job.
You haven't seen the movie, but your wife is very important to you, so
yes.
She's watched the movie, and
yes.
What did she say to it?
Oh, that was an interesting night when she came back home and watched the movie. You know, she liked it. She said for a film, it's a great film. She really enjoyed it. She just felt that maybe she could have gave them more. You know, like no one knew that she was donating an organ to her so her father could live, you know. No one knew that we got into a terrible car accident, you know, during that time, you know. So those are things that we didn't want to put on film, you know, because it was like, what we didn't want was people to pity us. You know, we didn't want that for the film.
And tell me something about your mom.
My mother was, when she was dying on the bed and I was watching her die, I didn't understand what she was going through while she was laying down, while she was like going through this, all these convulsions for so many hours. I didn't know what was going on inside of her. So I created this imaginary story of her and God fighting. And her saying, I'm not going anywhere. He's trying to pull her away from the world. And she's like not wanting to go because I know her biggest fear was leaving me and my brother. And we suffer to this day. My brother suffers to this day just as much as I do with how painful it was for her to leave us. You know, she had to leave us. And you know, she couldn't leave us with anybody, so we were left on the street. You know, at 15, I was on the street. My family didn't help. I still don't have the answer to that. My family is, they're very tough. You know, I do plays, and sometimes, well, they never came to see my plays. You know, and that's a shame because that's a big feat. You know, to be on a Broadway show straight out of prison. That's huge. You know, like and winning a Tony Award, it's like, come on, you still not coming to see me do a play? Like, and a lot of it is it's a question I have no answers for. Why do you think someone wouldn't do that? So that whole time I was on Broadway, I didn't have the luxury that the other performers had, of family members coming to see them. And my family lived a mile away. So ever since then, I decided to create my own family called the Andersons.
The Andersons.
Yeah. The Andersons.